The old loop doesn't simply fade away. The chemicals, impulses, and metabolic readiness are still active. But the meaning of the moment flips. A protected sequence is interrupted. A reward fails to appear. And the brain uses that contradiction as a signal to weaken the old wiring and strengthen the new. It isn't mystical, redirected energy. It's reinforcement chemistry changing direction. When the loop first fires, dopamine neurons light up in anticipation, not after the reward. They essentially say, this is the pattern that usually completes, prepare the reinforcement machinery. This thing now, create momentum across multiple levels. Electrical firing, emotional urgency, bodily arousal, and metabolic readiness. The brain is predicting a familiar ending, and prediction is everything, as we talked about before. Then comes the turning point. You interrupt the behavior, the brain expected completion, but the outcome never arrives. The dopamine system registers a reward prediction error, which is one of the core teaching signals in the nervous system, and in the brain in general. When a behavior fails to deliver the expected payoff, the brain marks that pathway as less reliable. Synapses in that circuit lose a sliver of strength. The automaticity drops a notch. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the network responsible for restraint, planning, and conscious choice, fires intensely. It sends inhibitory GABA signals downward, suppressing the habitual motor sequence. It holds the behavior back while recruiting an alternative path. This effort isn't metaphorical. It is high-frequency firing that triggers structural strengthening in the newer, healthier circuit you chose instead. The metabolic energy running this whole scene, control, conflict, updating, redirection, comes from the same pool that would have powered the habit. So in a very grounded biological scene, the moment becomes fuel for rewiring. The nervous system reallocates the work, not by intention or symbolism, by necessity and chemistry. The emotional surge that often comes with resisting a habit is not random discomfort. It is the biochemical state of high plasticity. Noradrenaline heightens sensitivity. Dopamine fluctuates. Stress hormones briefly raise alertness. Neural firing climbs. These conditions widen the learning window. The brain is paying attention, which is why stopping a habit mid-urge accelerates the rewiring compared to stopping it long before it starts. So, where does the energy go? Into physical change, into subtle updates of wiring, into the work of inhibition and learning. Every reset of membrane voltage, every shift in receptor density, every plastic adjustment burns real biological resources. You aren't just making a moral decision, you are engaging in a metabolic event. And this is why repetition matters so profoundly. Each time you stop the loop in motion, the balance tilts. The urge grows quieter. The craving shortens. The emotional punch weakens. The default begins to change. Over time, the brain stops betting on the old pattern, starts expecting the new one instead. The poetic truth grounded in tissue and ions. And that is, every time you interrupt a running habit, you are not just resisting, you are physically restructuring the pathways that define how your future self will respond. You are starving the old circuit, and at the same time you are feeding the new one. You're using the same exact fuel, or you're using the same exact energy. You are teaching dopamine what to value, and that teaching is written directly into the cells that make you who you are. It's not symbolic victory, it's architecture being redrawn in real time.